Hey, we are back. Deano's Night Out, right here, 1410 WRMN on the AM dial. Those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to us. Doesn't cost you a single dime, and all it does is kind of builds up the station a little bit, and we would certainly appreciate it. So if you are listening and you want to go to the YouTube, you go youtube.com/@WRMN Radio. You're going to probably want to call in, ask some questions for our next guest coming in here, and that's 847-931-1410. 847-931-1410. You can always text us on our text line, which is 505-926-1410. You getting the drift of this 1410 stuff? Yeah, we're trying to keep it all the same. So our next guests that are in the studio here right now, we're not going to mess around too much more over here. We're going to put them right on the screen, and I just got to get this thing to click over the right way. Here we are, camera 2. All right. We would like to welcome to WRMN right here now. This is Father Dennis Kasule, and we have to his right, Peter Wickman. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, beautiful. So, Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope. This is a foundation, Father. How long has this been around, and who founded this organization?
So the Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope has been around for 15 years. On June 3rd, it will be 15 years since the founding. So beginning, it was myself and 3 other women, Pat Mackenzie, who has since passed away, Deb Bond, as well as Denise Shiquen. So we co-founded this organization with the purpose of creating a space in which Ugandans and Americans can collaborate to uplift standards of life for people in Uganda, especially those in underserved communities, specifically through providing education for children that are needy, orphans, providing basic health care for communities, and providing faith as a basis for renewing hope among the communities that are served by the foundation.
And I'm reading, we have shown on the screen here, we have the mission statement, which is to foster hope of the underserved communities in and around Bunnamweri. Did I say it right this time?
Yep.
All right, Uganda, through education, health, and faith, empowering them to help themselves. So that's a strong statement. I mean, it really is. The next thing we're showing now is really what Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope is committed to the people of Bunnamweri, to the village through education, facilitation, access to water, general health, services, and faith promotion. As you journey through our site, may you be inspired and motivated to make our mission possible. Help us bring hope to the people of rural Uganda. And if you go to that website, it's real simple. It's SSFOH.com. Can't miss it. And that just says Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope. And they do. They put a lot of work into this, a lot of dedication. Dixie Jarek right now is the president, and that's the lady on the left as you're looking at the screen with the mirrored glasses on. So there's St. Raphael, from what I know about it. That's the whole thing, what everything is circled around. Is that correct, Father?
That is correct. Under St. Raphael, we have a junior school, which is a combination of pre-K and elementary school. We also have a medical clinic with all kinds of services for our communities. We also have a church, Catholic sub-parish. We also have a farm that helps to foster farming skills among our people.
So, for people don't really understand it, number one, for those of you see me in this big bright red jacket, it's got nothing to do with the election. I'm not doing this big GOP thing. The colors of Uganda, the Ugandan flag, is yellow, which is my tie represented here, as well as the red jacket, and I got the black trousers. That's the colors of the flag. And I've been proud to be a part of this organization, to be honest with you, for several years now. And the work that they do is just amazing. I was showing you pictures, and I just transitioned back now to the pictures. And here's Pete out there. And Pete, how long ago was it when you were out in Uganda?
That was 2019.
Now, can you imagine
The
that?
year before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We haven't been back since.
Yeah, and I was supposed to be on that trip, but then I had my shoulder surgery. Ken Amon, one of the other gentlemen, he's not big on flying. So he says, Dean, take my seat. So I was all set for it. I had the vaccinations because there's quite a process to go into a foreign country. And you have to have all these vaccines because they don't have the stuff we have out here. And, you know, I was all set for it. I said, man, this is going to be really neat. And there's Pete right there. And he did his part, man. I mean, you were doing what? You were like making gardens. You were making that water.
When we made a trip together with the Rotary Club of Lake in the Hills.
Great.
And the Rotary Club constructed a series of fish tanks that permitted the organization to raise tilapia. Tilapia are rapidly maturing fish that because of their rapid maturation are good fish for fish farming. And we went over there with the Rotary Club and put in a series of tanks. And again, if you when you read the mission statement, the key line on the mission statement was to help the people empower themselves.
So this is not a handout.
This is not a handout.
This is a hand up. This is like, look, we're limited on what we're going to be able to give you. Make the best of it.
Exactly. That's what it is. And so we went over there with the Rotary Club, and we did some other activities. And it was really eye-opening. And it was my first trip to sub-Sahara Africa, right? That is sub-Sahara Africa.
That is correct.
I've been to North Africa, and it's completely different. And
the difference being what, just for those, because I don't know the difference.
Everything's different. The religion, the desert. I mean, it's a completely different environment. And you get to sub-Sahara Africa. As I say, it was my first trip, and it was so interesting. And what I found most interesting was getting out into the village, Bunnamweri. Bunnamweri's by car about 45 minutes outside of Kampala. It's not very far, but the traffic is really terrible. And you get out to the village, Bunnamweri, you cannot imagine what it's like living in the rural areas of Uganda. I mean, it is so poor that you would just want to open up your arms and reach out to the people and try and help.
So then maybe make me understand this a little better, because I've never asked you this. When you fly into like the big city, right?
Kampala.
Which is, Kampala. So that's like a city like...
It's like Chicago, only it's
high rises, sewers,
traffic,
water, everything.
Traffic everywhere. People driving the wrong way down the street. I mean, they don't have traffic laws.
Yeah, I get along pretty good there. Yeah,
you'd love it, Deano.
Somebody told me once it's like a zoo.
Is it? So about how many miles then to the rural part of Bunnamweri?
City center to Bunnamweri.
It's about an hour. But
mileage-wise, how far?
It's about 35 miles.
So it's only 35 miles away,
Correct.
And it's like another country
world.
again. So
it's like a different
world. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a different world.
Yes.
Okay, and
all of the jobs are in Kampala. I mean, there's very little work in the villages, and life in the villages is completely different than life in the city. I mean, it's completely different experience.
Well, I imagine it would be. I mean, they can't walk wherever they're walking, flip a light switch up, because in most cases they don't have lights.
When we were at the school for our visit in 2019, we saw people from around the school going into the jungle to get their dinner. I mean, they would pick jackfruit off the trees. There's avocados, there's bananas, and a lot of the people subsist off the jungle. It's that poor.
That's amazing. So this water type thing that the Rotary Club,
The Rotary Club put it in the fish tanks.
the fish tanks, okay.
Stepping Stones Foundation put in 9 wells.
We did 9 wells, yes, between
Dug 9 wells.
Because our early experience in the village there was water. The first thing the people do in the morning is they got to walk to the well. There's no running water. There's no bathrooms.
No, none.
The kids go to the wells, pump the water, bring the water home. And the wells are, before we arrived, few and far between. We added 9 wells to the village. This is not just the campus, but the village. And we've added some sophisticated water retention in our school campus because we go through the wet period and the dry period, and when the dry period lasts longer than it should, we have to truck water in. Last year, before we invested the money in our new water retention problem, how many times do we truck water in? Daily?
whenever it rains.
You know, we had to bring it in all the time. So that solved a lot of problems. But what's interesting is and I say interesting, it's heartbreaking really to see how much the people don't have.
Yeah, when you get home, you know,
appreciate
everything
what
you're
you have.
taking for granted, it's like, wow. And then there's nothing. And I know one of the biggest challenges were to keep the medical supplies refrigerated. And you folks were using, I guess, dried ice from, I guess, Kampala. You were
Yes.
getting the ice and what have you.
Yes.
So you would have to make trips in and out daily, you know, on the warm days. What's the temperature out there
Hot.
during the summer, ordinarily? Father?
Hot.
Ordinary, between 65 and 100, you know.
Oh, 100's a normal day?
100.
Wow. That's hot.
But talking about the medical supplies, we began with using those ice packets.
Right?
And then we went to a solar refrigerator. Then eventually we were able to bring electricity into,
I remember when that happened.
into the
Yeah.
villages, and that has sort of solved our needs.
So St. Raphael, it has the medical center and the school, correct?
school.
Everything is in there?
Yes.
Okay. And it's in 15 years. That's a long time.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've been
Yeah.
able to,
How many students go to St. Raphael right now?
right now, about 300.
300. And the families live relatively close
We have
to...
boarding students.
Oh, you do? That stay on the facility.
How many?
About a third,
Close to 100.
close to
wow.
100. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Boarding students are a better option for us because they pay full tuition and they board.
Yeah. Well,
And we can count on them. You can't count on everyone paying their tuition. I mean, I know that probably sounds hard to believe, but we really have to chase people down to pay their fees. And that's why, one of the reasons why we raise a lot of money to support the school, because it's, you know, it needs that kind of help.
yeah.
We have to subsidize the operations on a monthly basis.
Well, what we're going to do is we're getting close to the bottom of the hour, and I don't want to get into, you know, like the different students and what it would take. And there's that little jingle right now that tells you that we're at the bottom of the hour. And you are listening to Deano's Night Out right here at 1410 a.m. WRMN. Having the pleasure to sit here and speak with Father Dennis Kasule and another dear friend of mine, Peter Wickman. And we're going to talk some more about the Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope. A great cause, folks. Give us a phone call, 847-931-1410. When we come back, we'll tell you all about it. If you have any questions, anything that you'd like to throw in, maybe you'd like to even sponsor one of these children. Okay, we'll be back in just a little bit. This is Deano's Night Out, 1410 WRMN. Hey, we're back. Deano's Night Out, right here, WRMN 1410 in Studio 14. So we have some great guests here this afternoon. We have Father Dennis Kasule and Pete Wickman, and they're both from the Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope. And we have asked people, hey, call in. Maybe you want to help out one of these children. Maybe you just want more questions answered before you even want to make that commitment. These two gentlemen will be here to answer that question. And that number to call is 847-931-1410. 847-931-1410. So we're not going to wait much longer. We're going to get our gentleman right back on here. And we're going to take this first call. Sound good with you two?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Go ahead, caller. You are on the air.
Hello, is that Pete Wickman I'm seeing there?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Hi, Pete. It's Jeannie. How are you?
Oh, Jeannie. How you doing, kiddo?
I'm good. What an interesting show. And hi, Father. How are you all?
Oh, I'm doing well. Hi, Jenny.
Wonderful. I'm just blown away how I could listen to this all day.
Yeah, we have a great organization. We have some great people, and we're doing some good work.
Really, really amazing. Very, very good. Just wanted to tell you that.
Thanks,
You're
Jeannie.
good.
Are you watching on the YouTube as well?
I was. I just turned it off because I'm down the street about to get my hair did.
Oh, there you go. Get yourself did up. But
Yeah, and I'll
yeah,
watch it I can watch it on YouTube in the place.
there you go. But we right now just showing a picture of Pete when he was out there in Uganda in 2019.
Is that with the pink behind him? No.
Excuse me?
Never mind. I saw one picture already that was
Yeah.
good.
He was holding one of the children, the picture with Pete.
Oh, okay, no.
And Dennis, if I showed Father Dennis all the pictures of him with the children, we'd be here all afternoon. I mean, they just gravitate to him like you would not believe. And
Different world, you know.
isn't it something? All right, Jeannie, we're going to let you go. Thank you for calling.
All right, bye-bye.
I know. All right. That was Jeannie. Everybody knows Jeannie now, Jeannie Delaney. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we had started talking about and a lot of good things that the foundation does. I know everything that they do, but everybody wants to hear from, either you, Father, or you, Pete. At the law firm, we support one of the children. And could you tell everybody for how little a month someone could support a child to go to school right over there in, Bunnamweri, and, they get their tuition, for the whole year. Obviously, it would be in monthly installments. But what would something like that cost somebody if they wanted to participate?
$500 for a whole year, and so it comes about to $45, maybe $48 every month.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money to ask for.
True.
And that would take care of what, all supplies? Do they get fed lunch? Do they?
Take care of their tuition, take care of their transportation to school, we take care of their feeding when they're at school. And of course, we make sure that we pay their teachers and so on and so forth. So
For $45 a month.
$45 a month.
I mean,
you take care of the whole child.
yeah, well, I understand cost of living is a whole lot different out there than it is out here. And folks, we all know how fortunate and how lucky we are to have what we have. Every morning I wake up and you hear me always put on, when I welcome the morning show, I always tell everybody, God morning, because you know what? Without him, nothing happens. And he has gotten me very, very far in my life. Things that shouldn't happen and blessings that I should never be receiving, I think happen because of different involvement that we do helping others. It doesn't have to be a religious thing that you want to do, but you know what? Helping other people feels good. And I think we're rewarded in our life for doing good deeds and acts. It may not come as quick as we want it sometimes, because there's many a times like, really? I got to get through this? But I do. And I get through it. And that's because of faith. And that's what their mission statement does. Uganda gives education. It gives health with the St. Raphael Health Center, education, health, and faith. It empowers them to help themselves. You're not just given, the $45, $48 a month as a handout and say, okay, fine, they're going to go, whether they learn or don't learn, it doesn't matter. I know you have some dedicated educators out there. Is that true?
We do. We do have, but I wanted to go back to your emphasis on not just giving them a handout. So for over the last 15 years, through our education program, we've been able to educate some of our students all the way to graduation. and some of them have been very successful in their lives. So last time I was in Uganda in January, one of them came to see me and actually came with a car for me to bless. She's just bought a new car. She said,
Oh, no kidding.
look what I was able to do, and thank you for educating me. Thank you for helping me to get on my feet. And then now I'm able to have a good life. And also she did something more. She bought beds for our health clinic, for the medical clinic. So
Isn't
when
that
patients come, now they can actually have a bed where to rest and recuperate and recover. So you can see how this
It's the cycle.
The cycle of generosity.
Yeah.
It just keeps growing.
And you get a little bit and you get a whole lot back more in return.
Indeed.
And I'm sure she stayed in contact with you since.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
She always does. She always does.
Yeah. No, I mean,
But that's just only one example. We have numerous examples of that kind. Young people getting on their feet, opening their own businesses, being successful, coming back to be grateful, and then donating, to help the school or to help the medical clinic, or to.
We have one lady that we're currently
just pull a little closer.
sending through medical school.
Oh,
We
really?
have another lady that's in nursing school. So, I mean, it's not just primary 1 through 7. When we identify kids who have the academic ability to move on successfully, we try to arrange to get sponsors for them so that we can pay for not only their primary school, but also secondary, and in some cases, even college.
I'll be darned.
Yes.
And this is all from the opportunity through Stepping Stones, of course,
Definitely.
and St. Raphael, that ordinarily these children would never have had this type of
They would never have that
opportunity to have this
Never.
done.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. That's amazing. You're talking families that are, your word, harvesting food out in the jungle, to where now look at this, because of a small token of $45. $45 a month, you're able to get these children, and transportation, from what you're telling me, has got to be a high cost within itself.
Transportation is expensive.
Yeah, it's got to be. And you're able to accomplish tuition, transportation, and a meal for them while they're over at the school. Yeah, this is amazing. What happens over there in Uganda, it's short of amazing. The last time that they had a fundraiser, which you got one coming up, and what's the date on that, Pete?
26th?
26th of this month.
Okay. And if somebody was interested in
So if you'd like to
Getting
buy
something on the
tickets are
tickets.
available on our website, ssfoh.org.
there you go.
ssfoh.org.
And people buy those tickets and they think, oh, they're really helping out. Well, that's nice. I mean, the tickets are, God, they're $70.
$75, yeah.
Okay. $75 for a ticket. And I mean, you get a meal and a half over there. You get a beautiful surroundings. There's all types of gift baskets that are going to be raffled off and all types of other things. But make no mistake, everybody, this is not a beg fest in any which way or intended to be, but this is a fundraiser. And this is a fundraiser where you are actually able to see your dollars go to great works. You're able to see, look at the stories we just got done hearing. You've got two that are going to be doctors or medical field at least. You have another success story that was able to get her own car
Accountants.
after
We
things.
actually have 2 priests that have been trained through our organization, and we have 2 seminarians coming through as well.
So, folks, there's a lot of good that Stepping Stones can do for anybody. And if anybody's interested in coming to the event, they'll have like a live auction over there as well. They're going to have some great gift baskets. And I also know that they'll have handcrafted items directly from Uganda, and they carve out these out of wood, and not only wood, coconuts, I believe they use. And what else do they use for their carvings?
Anything they can find in the jungle.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You think it's fun, but that's what it is. Anything that they're able to find and repurpose and turn it into something, they have. And they have made probably every animal from the jungle onto carvings.
Correct.
They've got some sewing and crocheting that they do. They make these purses. They make these keychains. They do beadwork. It's amazing what's there. So, folks, it's the 26th of April. Go to Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope, which is SSFOH.com.
.org.
I'm sorry, it's .org. I've been saying com. So SSFOH.org. And you could see all about the event. We're going to try and pull up that flyer in just a few moments, but we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the success stories as well as how you could be a part of this, be a part of the community. A lot of people have asked me, well, we have so many different people here, in America that, need help. Why would we want to go to other countries? Well, you know what? Other countries need help as well. And for the small amount of investment that you're having to make to let another country have what we don't have, the basics, it's not a big price to pay. And if this isn't your foundation that you're interested in giving it to, you don't have to. But if it is something that interests you and you'd like to support and help, we'd certainly like to have you be a part of it. And again, it's SSFOH.org. I was saying it wrong. I'll tell you another little personal story, but I'm going to save it till we come back. I'll tell you what my family was able to do for the foundation. And it kind of blew me away because I just proposed it like, hey, what do you say we do this? And they said, yeah, let's do it. So we'll talk about that in just a few short moments. So we're going to take another short break, and we'll be back with Father Dennis Kasule and Peter Wickman from Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope. So be right back. WRMN 1410. Hey, we're back, everybody. WRMN 1410, and you're listening to Deano's Night Out. Great guests in the studio here today. Dennis Kasule, Peter Wickman, directly to my left. And we've been talking about a lot of different things here while we were on break. And Pete, go ahead. Say what you were saying before. I thought that was very interesting the way you had said it.
A student initiative that we have going at the school. And as Deano was mentioning, for $45 a month, you can provide a year's worth of support for a child in primary school. And it's $45 a month. And the comment I was making to Deano during the break was, for $45 a month, $500 a year, it's pretty hard to make a difference in someone's life. With this money, you can make a difference in someone's life. And it's amazing to be over there and see what's available and see what can be made available with some additional resources. And it's gratifying to be able to provide this kind of support to those people in need.
Yeah, well, these are the folks that, just like you're saying, they're going to make a difference. They want to have an opportunity to change their life. And by giving
these are people who would not have the opportunity without our support.
Yeah.
We have people who are going to miss the opportunity because we don't have more donors. So if you're interested, this is something that you can get your arms around. You can communicate with your student. You get letters from your student.
Yeah, we get a letter at the law firm every month. Tells us they're, in fact, we've been doing now for, I think, 3 or 4 years, if not more. Because I know we've been getting the progression of what they're doing.
Correct.
And the price hasn't gone up at all. And that's the other part. I can't
So it's
imagine.
fixed once you donate.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's it makes us feel good. Mary Brady was like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And, I'm happy to be a part of things and be able to help the foundation as well. In fact, when my father passed away, it was during the COVID. I don't know, it was like almost 6 months later, we got this check in. It was like a $1,500 check. And, my two brothers called me up and says, hey, from Dad's estate, we have this other check. And I was like, wow. I said, well, do what you want to do with it. I says, let's give it to somebody. I says, let's do it in Dad's name. And then at the time, it was Schultz, actually.
Matt Schultz.
Matt Schultz and yourself were the ones that were telling me that you guys had some misfortune. You weren't able to get the ice to keep the medicines that you guys have there because there's a lot of different diseases that are going around, and you have to have those vaccinations. So you lost, I don't know, thousands of dollars worth of it. And all they were trying to do was get a power line dropped to the medical center. They weren't looking for nothing else. They weren't looking for air conditioner for people to live this good life in 100 plus degrees. So they had mentioned it, and I told my family, I says, hey guys, why don't we do this? We'll do this in Dad's name, and you know, we're going to help a lot of people. You know, and this doesn't just help one student. This helps all the students. This helps all the people in the community that are in Uganda. And, you know, for the $1,500, I mean, it was a long power drop. If that was here in America, that would have been like $80,000 or better.
Say 100, yeah.
Okay, $100,000.
Yeah.
But for a small $1,500 donation, they were able to get power to the medical center. And then as things lucked out, I guess the contractors that were there, they made that power drop to where they were able to extend it to the school. And the rest of the community, not just the community center, which was the hospital, was also now able to get electricity because the main power line had come through.
All true.
And none of that we expected. All we were figuring was, wow, hey, you know what? At least the medicine will be safe.
Yes.
And look what happens. And I'm telling you, when you do something like that and you're giving something with good intentions, look what good came out of that.
Very true. The transformation that has happened because of having electricity is night and day.
Yeah, we were running on generators.
Yeah.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that the failure that you had, I mean, it was devastating to have the vaccines all useless. I mean, you couldn't use them, and what they were would cause more harm to an individual.
Indeed.
You know, and then there's other things they have out there. There's a lot of, didn't they get a ultrasound machine through the Knights of Columbus? So there's a lot of resources that have been sent that way, but not just put into the corner and says, okay.
Dental equipment.
Dental equipment. Yeah, that was one of the pictures. Didn't I have that on here? Yeah.
We just also bought for the computers for the school. That was our project last year.
Yeah, last year's
Would
project.
not be possible without electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year's fundraiser generated funds by, we had some computers, but we now have 40, current upgraded computers with reliable Wi-Fi.
Not reliable, but
Somewhat reliable.
But they're still able to utilize that. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're taking a place where, again, I have to go back. It is the first time that you've told that to me, Pete, to where people are having. I mean, it really does. It really tugs at me when you're looking at these residents are having to harvest in the jungle. I mean, that jungle's. You were there. I mean,
Well, it's
a jungle.
It's a jungle. Yeah.
And these kids are going with their parents, their father, to go and harvest food so they have something to eat. And you don't know what they're going to come back with.
Indeed.
So
Growing up, that if you don't have to cook lunch, you go and look around, find
right.
jackfruit.
We go to McDonald's, we go drive any. We don't even finish the whole hamburger. How many times we don't eat something? This isn't cooked the way I want. We throw it out.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
These poor folks are struggling just to have a meal. And much less this. This is for education. And then the education that comes from this is just there's no measuring.
And then, in addition, the kids get a solid lunch.
Yeah, well.
Which they may not get at home.
Right. So it's a lot of good this does. I'm telling you, folks, if you're able to do it, make the phone call. You can call us here, 931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. But, a lot of people are bashful on this. So go to the website. Go to SSFOH.org. And, shop around a little bit. There's all kinds of things you could do to help. But, when you see the different pictures and you see what that contribution of that small $45 a month, $500 a year, like Pete is saying, to people who ordinarily wouldn't have these opportunities, and you're making an impact into someone's life, I think that speaks volumes, huh? Father, we're probably going to just have a couple minutes left here. Is there anything in closing you'd like to share with everybody?
What I would like to say is that there are three things that sustain people in our communities back in Uganda, namely God,
Go ahead.
community, and the land.
Okay.
God, community, and the land. So, and community now is broader for us because it includes not only the folks that we have in Uganda, but also the folks that we have here in the United States. So, the joy for me as a founding member of the organization is to seeing that this space of collaboration is continuing to be around for 15 years. Hopefully, it will continue forever, so that we can all contribute to lifting up one another in every way that we can.
We could only hope so. Stepping Stones Foundation of Hope, everybody. SSFOH.org. Peter, thank you very much for
Thanks
being
for
here
having us,
today.
Deano.
Dennis, Father Dennis Kasule. Father, you're doing great works out there. Keep up the good work. That's it for today. Dino's Night Out, 14:10 a.m. right here at WRMN. Tune in next Friday, 2 to 4. We'll have another group of people in here.